Hello everybody, this is Alex from Hardcoring Guides, bringing you my guide for Dead Space 2 on Zealot difficulty. Today we're doing Chapter 2, entitled, I Need Transportation! I don't know why it's titled like that. I mean, I know what happens at the end of the chapter that would probably give in to that idea. But yeah, just a funny little name for the chapter win. So starting off, I have a few nodes. I'm going to spend every one of them except for one. This is a key aspect that I do for pretty much every Dead Space. I lied! I spent one! Wow! Way to go! Already episode 2, and I already made a liar of myself. That was fast. Now, let me explain real quick. The best course of action is to not spend the one node, and I find out exactly why you don't spend the one node. I didn't mean to lie. I just forgot that I did that. My bad. My apologies. But not spinning the node, just like in Dead Space 1, allows you to open up node doors. Which, by the way, guess what? There's a node door coming up pretty soon. Also, I would recommend upgrading your plasma cutter as fast as you can, at least in terms of damage and reload speed. Capacity is not a big deal. I mean, capacity helps, but realistically, it's probably more better just to have something that does damage, so that way you don't have to, worry about having to use too many shots. Plus, having reload speed keeps it capable to, well, make sure that if you run out of capacity, you just reload faster. So, I would say those are probably like the two biggest things I can think of. Sorry about that. Yeah, so if you can come over here and you can find a node. The game does give you a node. So luckily I did remember, like, oh yeah, that's right, there was a node there. Because if I remember correctly, when I was playing through this and I wasted the node, I think I realized at the time that I'm like, crap, I wasted it. And that's when it, kind of came to me. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's right. I think there was another one you could find around here somewhere. So if you do happen to mess up like I did, then you can still find one. But truth be told, make sure that you at least have a node on you at all times. Just in the off chance that you might end up running into a node door and you're going to need to get that extra supplies. Trust me, the node doors are usually pretty much worth it. Typically. Also love Isaac's reactions in this game. I think they upped Isaac's character by like 1,000,000-fold in this game. And then they completely decimate him in 3. So, what goes around comes around, I guess. But yeah, the reason why I guess you could argue... Also, is that Daniel Larson on the screen? What the fuck? I guess the reason why I'm so, wacky and woohoo, which is not very normal for Hardcorean. I just got done finishing up my Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex Let's Play. Oh yeah, also there's a leaper that comes from behind you. So just keep an eye out for this. But yeah, I got done finally doing that one, and I'm just kind of in that wacky mood of things. Also, this guy spawns. I don't know if there's any way to avoid that damage. I don't think you technically can, as far as I'm aware. Also, one trick that Dead Space 2 allows you to do, also there's a puker in here, so be careful of him too. You don't want to get puked on. I kind of forgot about him being there. So just a heads up. He's a crawler version, so he's basically already technically kind of like half dead. Not a big deal, but still, watch out for the crawler, or the puker in there, my bad. And this guy will spawn, I think, after a while, or I think after you go in that room. I think it's probably once you go in that room, I think he spawns. So just watch out for this. This part right here is considerably pretty difficult. But the thing I want to talk about before my train of thought gets too far, there's two things. One, shooting off the arms and then using those to kind of just attack the enemy back is a pretty good method and a pretty good strategy. Also, this room right here is pretty much just random. So your best bet is just to try to, like, find a corner for, like, a split second or two. And then, turn around instantly once you go to a corner. When you hear the noise and then break into the vent, just immediately turn around or turn toward that vent. And then, just wait for these guys to kind of pop out. And then use the pincers, if you can. Not really pincers, but the slasher things to kind of just attack them back. After the puker, it's going to spawn a leaper, and it's going to spawn another slasher variant. So make sure that you take out at least the leaper as fast as you can. This guy, I think, again, they're just mostly just completely random, but for the most part, yeah, just try to find like a corner, and then once that corner has been taken over, or once you've killed a couple of guys in that corner, then run to a different corner and try to just go from there. That's my best advice. It's not like perfect advice, but as far as I'm aware, it's completely random where they spawn, and they typically tend to spawn sometimes away from you, at least for the first couple of them. But then for, I think the Leaper might spawn in that same spot. No, that's not true. I think he actually spawns in the other spot too. I'm pretty sure he does. But yeah, the reason why I'm the wacky woohoo pizza man today is because I just now got done finishing my Crash Let's Play. So I'm still in that zone of commentary that my Let's Plays get rather than my guides get. My guides get different types of commentary. I'm more professional. I'm more laid back. I'm more chill about how things go. I don't need to yell and scream and kick. Sorry. But yeah, I don't need to just make all this wacky noise to kind of just jiggle keys in front of kids all day. You know what I'm saying? But then, like, with my Let's Play channel, it's just a completely different threshold of stuff. But nowadays, I have to be a bit more careful about the things I say because YouTube has a very strong boot of just trying to take people down for just saying anything that's not even remotely offensive in the least bit. If it's even, like, slightly tiny bit of offensive, they'll probably just do something. I know I just completely contradicted myself there, but it's just how I feel. I feel like YouTube just goes after things just because. So yeah, be careful in this room. This guy's going to spawn up. The Leaper's going to spawn on the conveyor belt thing here, so just make sure you grab a couple of those slasher arms. We'll just call them arms, I guess. I don't really know exactly what other I could probably call them. There's a gold semiconductor over there. That's something I thankfully remembered because Dead Space 2 I do actually play quite a bit. Not too often. Not as often enough as I do Dead Space 1, but I do play it enough to where, you know, yeah. So yeah, just keep an eye out for the Leaper. And then after that, what the fuck are these guys called again? Exploders? I always just call them explodey guys. I don't know. Now, if you wanted to do what I did there, which is pretty much just shoot off the arm, you can do that. So that way you can just use it to kind of just throw at other enemies. And then by doing that, you'll just blow them up. I got real scared here because that guy spawned pretty much right next to me. And all that's between me and him is pretty much just that little tiny glass fence. And that terrified the shit out of me. Your best bet is to kind of just stay somewhat in the middle. Stay back here first, then kill off the first exploding guy, and then start to kind of make your way halfway through the area back toward the first guy where he spawned. So that way, well, you don't have to go completely half because you saw that other guy spawn there in the halfway mark. But pretty much what you want to do is you just want to kill out the first couple of them, run down a bit, and then after that, the one behind you should spawn. Because I think they have a fixed spawn for them. Not gonna lie, this part's a bit creepy. Like, out of all Dead Space, it's probably like one of the more creepier looking things. Mainly because it does that thing that Undertale does with Flowey at the very end of the game, where they do that scary face thing that actually is a bit creepy. So coming over here, there's going to be a spawner type guy. I think that's what they're called. It's been a while since I played Dead Space, so I apologize. There's no real technical way to theoretically delimb them, as far as I'm aware. But I typically just shoot at the middle between the wings, so that way I can pretend like I'm going to chop off an arm. Now, do be careful, because once you're done with those guys, and I think it's a time thing, too, but usually once those guys are done with, this guy behind you will spawn in, and he'll start chasing you down. I keep saying spawn in, but I should probably just say they just kind of show up, or they wake up. After that, you know, you're going to head down to the end of the train here, and you're just going to activate the thingamabob. You're going to do the switches and what have you. You guys pretty much know this. This is Dead Space 2 in a nutshell. So, yeah. They use this a lot, actually. They're very not conservative with using it, that's for sure. Once the train starts moving, Slasher's going to spawn in, and, you know, again, you could just use his arms to carry with you if you want to use it on the other enemies to save ammo. That's completely up to you. Ammo scarcity is not necessarily inherently a big thing, as it is in, like, say, Resident Evil, but it still has a hell of an impact on Zealot mode compared to Dead Space 1. Dead Space 1 Impossible mode, you can go through the game with the plasma cutter only and just be remotely fine. You could do the same thing here, actually, too, if you really wanted to. You could always just run with just only plasma cutter on Zealot. Because as far as I'm aware, you could get away with that, and that would save you a lot of ammo if that's something you really wanted to try out for yourself. But I only run 2 guns on Dead Space 2, just because of the swarm. That's what they're called. You guys know what I'm talking about. Those, you know, kids, quote-unquote, toddlers, or whatever the fuck they are. Basically, the smaller necromorphs. I mean, they're basically kids. I don't know what you want me to say. That's just what they are. I mean, yeah, it's fucked up, but they're basically already dead anyway. So, it's Dead Space, too. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what you want me to say. Also, it might look like I'm playing on Xbox, but I'm actually not. I'm playing on PC. I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but I actually am playing this on PC. But yeah, once you come into here, you're going to have the exploding enemy on the very end here. Just make sure you take out him first. Try to take out both of them, and then after that, this guy will spawn to the side of you. So just be wary of that. Don't get hit like I did. A lot of this is just me kind of forgetting where enemies spawn, which is inherently a bad thing to have when you're a guide guy. But at the same time, hey, you guys get to see me get hit by guys, and that sucks. But guess what? You get to learn from my mistakes. So realistically, not a bad guide. I don't think you need to shoot any of the enemies here, but I do just in the off chance that they might attack. Because I've had times before where I think they do attack you, but as far as I'm aware, I think it's just pretty rare for them to actually hit you. Although I'm not really sure exactly, you know, how they could possibly do it. But yeah, hanging upside down, you're mostly going to deal with enemies that crawl, and you're going to deal with enemies that will eventually, you know, once they get closer, they'll start getting faster. And you have all these little different things around the area that you can kind of pick up and just shoot at enemies and stuff. And I would recommend just picking these up and just trying to pin down your enemies. And, you know, use arms to your advantage. Try to shoot the exploding guy. I shot him just to see if I can get anything extra out of him. All I got was stasis. But yeah, just, you know, keep a lookout for where they're spawning from. And you should be pretty much fine. After that, 2 shots to the arm, or at least 1 shot to the arm, should take out the brute's arm. And then, as far as I'm aware, I think that's pretty much the end of the chapter, because the next chapter just starts right away after this. So you get this cool section where the thing blows up. After that, chapter 2 is finished. So I'll see you guys back in chapter 3. And also, I'm just checking to make sure I'm actually on the right difficulty because it didn't feel right. So yeah, take care, everybody.